Hello friends, welcome back to Ace Wisdom. You've heard it said before, maybe even told yourself the story. If I just give them time, they'll come back. But what if time isn't the cure? What if it's the confirmation? When an avoidant does this, they're not in limbo. They're leaving. And no amount of waiting, no silent suffering, no strategic moves will change that. I get it. It hurts. You're replaying every moment in your head, trying to spot where it all went wrong. You think maybe if you just understood them better, they'd understand you better. But here's the thing. Their silence, their withdrawal, it's not a puzzle. It's their truth. They're not confused and they're not debating their next step. They've already taken it. And the longer you sit in this space, the more you give their absence the power to define you. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Let that sink in. Their actions, out of your control. But your response, that's where your power lies. Right now, you're giving them your energy, your thoughts, your peace of mind. They've left the room, but you've kept the door open, hoping they'll walk back through. Ask yourself, are they the kind of person who deserves an open door? Or are you holding it open for someone who's already shown you they're not coming back? Let's take it even deeper. In the Bible, we're told, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Think about that for a second. Your heart, your emotions, your love, your dreams are the compass of your life. If you let someone who's disconnected steer that compass, where do you think you'll end up? Lost, alone, disoriented. You don't need their return to find your way again. What you need is to take your heart back into your own hands. When someone avoidant makes the choice to walk away, they're not leaving room for negotiation. They're not testing your patience. They've shown you what matters to them, and hard as it is to hear, it's not you. The Stoics would call this living in accordance with nature. People show you who they are. Your job isn't to rewrite their story. Your job is to accept it and write your own. And here's the secret. The moment you stop waiting, the moment you stop hoping they'll come back, that's when you set yourself free. Not free to play another game, not free to chase someone else, but free to finally see your own worth. Free to live for yourself instead of living in the shadow of their choices. So, now I want to hear from you. Take the lesson from this title and turn it into a mantra. Say it, write it, comment it below. If they can't choose me, they don't deserve me. Make it yours. Own it. Declare it so the world, and more importantly you, know where you stand. And if this message is hitting home, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around, because we're not stopping here. There's more to uncover, more truths to face, and more freedom waiting for you on the other side of this. Let's rewrite your story together. One step, one truth, one mantra at a time. Let's dive into the 5 signs an avoidant is not coming back. Sign number 1. They have adapted to emotional distance. One of the primary reasons why an avoidant person isn't coming back is that they have adapted to emotional distance. For avoidants, the act of pulling away isn't just a temporary retreat. It's often a well-established pattern they've developed as a coping mechanism. They thrive on independence and self-sufficiency, and when faced with emotional intimacy, their instinct is to distance themselves rather than confront their feelings. This emotional distancing can create a comfortable space for them. They may have learned to manage their emotions by keeping people at arm's length, which protects them from vulnerability and the fear of being hurt. This learned behavior becomes second nature, and they may not even recognize how this impacts their relationships. For them, stepping back provides a sense of safety and control, making it unlikely that they will seek to re-engage once they've established this distance. Moreover, avoidant individuals often rely on a rationalization of their feelings. They may convince themselves that they're better off alone, or that the relationship was never right for them, even if deep down they might have feelings they're unwilling to confront. This self-justification solidifies their decision to stay away, reinforcing the belief that returning to the relationship would disrupt their hard-won emotional stability. Ultimately, their comfort in emotional distance is a significant barrier to reconnection. They have learned to thrive in solitude and may not see the value in revisiting a relationship that demands the vulnerability they fear. Understanding this aspect of avoidant behavior can empower you to recognize that if they've chosen to maintain distance, it's likely a conscious choice rather than a temporary lapse. Instead of waiting for their return, focus on your own growth and healing, knowing that your worth is not defined by their ability to commit. Sign 2. They fear vulnerability and intimacy. Another significant reason an avoidant person isn't coming back is their deep-seated fear of vulnerability and intimacy. Avoidant individuals often struggle with the idea of getting too close to someone emotionally, as it can trigger feelings of anxiety and discomfort. The closer you get, the more exposed they feel, and this fear of being vulnerable can be overwhelming for them. For many avoidants, intimacy is equated with potential pain. Past experiences such as childhood trauma, abandonment, or unhealthy relationships may have taught them that opening up leads to heartbreak or rejection. As a result, they develop a protective barrier, avoiding situations that require emotional investment. They might convince themselves that keeping a safe distance is the best way to avoid getting hurt again. When faced with the prospect of a deeper connection, an avoidant person may retreat rather than engage. Their instinct is to pull away when things start to get serious, or when they sense that their partner is seeking more closeness. This can manifest as emotional unavailability, silent treatment, or even ghosting. Their fear often prevents them from fully experiencing love and connection, leading them to rationalize their decision to stay away. Even if they had strong feelings for you, the thought of diving back into a relationship that could require emotional openness and vulnerability can be daunting. They may prefer to maintain the status quo of their solitary existence rather than confront their fears and uncertainties. Ultimately, this fear of vulnerability is a significant barrier that keeps avoidance from returning. It's essential to recognize that their decision to stay away is not a reflection of your worth, but rather a reflection of their struggles with intimacy. Rather than waiting for them to overcome these fears, focus on your healing and self-discovery. Embrace the idea that true connections come from mutual vulnerability, and that your emotional safety is just as important as anyone else's. Sign 3. They lack the tools for healthy communication. A third reason why an avoidant person isn't coming back is that they often lack the tools for healthy communication. Many avoidant individuals struggle with expressing their feelings, needs, and desires, which can lead to misunderstandings and unresolved conflicts in a relationship. When faced with emotional situations, they may default to avoidance rather than engaging in open dialogue, which is crucial for a relationship to thrive. This communication gap stems from their upbringing or past experiences, where they may not have learned how to express emotions constructively. They might have been taught to suppress feelings, viewing emotional expression as a sign of weakness or vulnerability. As a result, when faced with conflict or emotional discussions, their instinct is to retreat rather than confront the issues at hand. This tendency can manifest as silence, avoidance, or even anger. Behaviors that create an emotional chasm between partners. When an avoidant person pulls away, they might feel overwhelmed by the need to communicate, leading them to believe that silence is the best solution. They often assume that withdrawing is a way to protect both themselves and their partner from discomfort. Unfortunately, this approach only exacerbates feelings of isolation and frustration, making it less likely they will return to the relationship. Moreover, if they have already established a pattern of avoidance, they may believe that re-engaging in the relationship would require confronting these difficult communication barriers. They might feel ill-equipped to navigate complex emotional discussions or fear that doing so will lead to conflict, disappointment, or rejection. This perceived inability to communicate effectively can trap them in a cycle of avoidance, where they opt for distance rather than face the challenges of deeper connection. Ultimately, their lack of communication skills plays a significant role in their decision to remain distant. Rather than waiting for them to develop these tools, it's important to focus on your own ability to communicate openly and effectively in future relationships. Recognizing that not everyone possesses the same skills in navigating emotions can help you move forward. Seeking connections with those who are ready and willing to engage in healthy, meaningful dialogue. Sign 4. They prefer independence over commitment. A fourth reason why an avoidant person isn't coming back is their strong preference for independence over commitment. For many avoidants, the idea of being in a committed relationship can feel stifling or constricting. They often value their autonomy and personal space, viewing commitment as a potential threat to their freedom. This intrinsic desire for independence can make it challenging for them to engage in a relationship that requires emotional investment and interdependence. Avoidants typically see themselves as self-sufficient and may have built their lives around this principle. They are often comfortable handling things on their own, finding a sense of security in their independence. This mindset can lead them to perceive relationships as burdensome, where they might feel obligated to meet the needs of another person, which can create anxiety and discomfort. When they experience emotional intimacy, it can trigger feelings of vulnerability and the fear of losing their independence. Instead of embracing the idea that a healthy relationship can coexist with personal freedom, they may retreat at the first sign of commitment, choosing to distance themselves rather than risk feeling trapped. Their preference for independence can be so strong that they rationalize their decision to pull away, convincing themselves that they are better off alone. Moreover, avoidants may struggle with the concept of sharing their lives with someone else. They might fear that commitment will lead to the loss of their identity, or that they will have to compromise their personal goals and desires. This can lead them to avoid relationships altogether, or to disengage from those that demand a deeper level of commitment. In the long run, their desire for independence often outweighs any emotional attachment they might have felt. Instead of waiting for them to change their perspective on commitment, it's crucial to recognize that their choice to prioritize independence is a fundamental aspect of their personality. By understanding this, you can shift your focus from trying to reclaim a relationship that may not serve your needs to embracing new opportunities that align with your own desire for connection and partnership. Sign 5. They have found comfort in their current lifestyle. A fifth reason why an avoidant person isn't coming back is that they have found comfort in their current lifestyle. When an avoidant individual distances themselves from a relationship, they often settle into a routine that feels secure and predictable. This new lifestyle may provide them with a sense of control, freedom, and stability that they didn't fully appreciate while they were in the relationship. Once they've retreated, many avoidants create a life that minimizes emotional risk. They may fill their time with work, hobbies, or friendships that require less emotional investment. This can create a sense of comfort and fulfillment that makes them reluctant to re-engage in a relationship that could disrupt their newfound stability. The routine they establish after pulling away often reinforces their decision to stay distant, as it becomes easier to focus on activities and interactions that don't challenge their emotional boundaries. Additionally, avoidants may find themselves surrounded by like-minded individuals who share their views on relationships and independence. This can further reinforce their decision to remain detached, as they may feel validated in their lifestyle choices. When they see that others prioritize independence and emotional distance, it can feel reassuring and affirm their belief that they are making the right choice by not returning to a relationship that requires vulnerability. The comfort they find in this lifestyle can also lead to a sense of complacency. They may convince themselves that they are happier or better off without the emotional complexities of a romantic relationship. This belief can act as a significant barrier to reconnection, as they might fear that returning to a relationship would force them to confront feelings and situations they're not ready to handle. Ultimately, the comfort they derive from their current lifestyle becomes a significant factor in their decision to stay away. Rather than waiting for them to reconsider their choices, it's essential to recognize that their comfort and routine may have solidified their avoidance. Instead of focusing on what they might be missing, shift your energy toward creating a fulfilling life for yourself, embracing the possibility of connections that align with your needs and values. As we wrap up, it's crucial to remember that when it comes to avoidant behavior, their distance often speaks louder than words. If they've chosen to stay away, it's not a reflection of your worth or value. Understanding the reasons behind their actions can help you gain clarity and strength as you move forward. Embrace the freedom that comes with recognizing that you deserve a relationship built on mutual respect, trust, and emotional connection. Now, I want to hear from you. What's your biggest takeaway from today's discussion? Have you experienced similar patterns in your relationships? Comment below with your thoughts or share a mantra that resonates with you based on the insights we've explored today. Let's support one another on this journey towards self-discovery and empowerment. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Your engagement helps us continue creating content that inspires and empowers. Stay tuned, because next time we'll dive deeper into the dynamics of emotional relationships and how to cultivate healthier connections. Until then, remember to prioritize your own growth and happiness. You are worth it.